This is Mark Bell from supertraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. Firing out more questions for the Power Project. We're up over 100 questions answered. If you're having trouble keeping up with me, I don't blame you. We're blasting these things out like there's no tomorrow. We got a question from one of the other previous questions that was answered by Jesse Burdick about long arms in the bench press. Actually had a couple of comments on that. One guy said, how long is too long? Let your wife or girlfriend determine that. If that's a problem of yours, and that's a great problem to have. If you have long arms, you probably kind of realized it at this point. If you have to ask, then your arms probably aren't that long. The other thing is, it's not just long arms. It's kind of long limbs, along with a slender, slim physique, or not a very thick build, and that'll lead to a huge range of motion in your bench press, and that'll lead to a sucky bench press, and that'll lead to a lot of problems. So this guy here, his name is Sessions 411. You guys have the weirdest names. And he loves that the question was addressed, but he says, are there any particular tricep exercises that could benefit people with long arms? I actually heard something a long time ago from Scott Mendelson, 715-pound raw bench, the greatest raw bench presser of all time. He actually made a comment to me that had me bewildered. I love that word, by the way, bewildered. Anyway, I was totally bewildered. He said, because you have long arms, you can build up a huge tricep. And I was like, what? But, it kind of makes sense. What he was basically saying is, like, because your arm is larger overall, you can really build the shit out of it. You don't have a short, stumpy, fat little arm. And if you look at some of the greatest raw bench pressers out there, you got Al Davis, who's benched 675 in competition, I believe. You have Scott Mendelson, and you got a couple other guys. You got Ryan Kennelly's got a pretty big raw bench. These guys aren't. Even Alan Beria isn't really short. He just built himself up to be really freaking wide. Mendelson, I believe, is around 6 feet tall, or he used to be. He kind of shrunk down a little bit. And then Kennelly is pretty huge. Kennelly's about 6'1" or so. So having long arms, if you're 6'5" or something, that's really long arms. And you are going to have problems until you can build your body up and build yourself up thicker, as my homie Jesse Burdick already mentioned in the previous answer. But to answer this question here, I don't think there's any magic exercise that's going to be helpful for somebody with long arms or somebody with short arms. However, building up your arms, period, is going to help you more so than someone with short arms, because their arms are already stumpier, and you got to create a stumpier arm even though your arm is long. So you got to do a lot of curls. You got to do a lot of tricep work. I'm a big fan of tricep extensions. I'm a big fan, but even more so than tricep extensions, I think heavy presses are going to be even more important for you, especially if you're weak, because when you're doing tricep extensions with 20-pound dumbbells, that's not really going to cut it. That's not really going to do a whole lot other than just help build hypertrophy, which we know a larger muscle will be a stronger muscle. Building up the biceps will help build up, I call them brakes. It'll help build up brake pads for your bench press, because now you'll have something to rest those big weights on. Building up the forearm will help as well. Forearm, biceps, triceps. You need to have huge forearms, biceps, triceps. A lot of guys that are pushing up over 500 pounds raw have nearly a 20-inch arm. I'd say that probably 90% of them have at least a 19-inch arm. So that's something to think about. That's something to realize. That's something to put in the old memory banks. And understand that you're not going to press these big weights without big arms. I'm a big proponent of reverse curls, hammer curls, fat bar curls, incline dumbbell curls. Those suckers hurt like a son of a bitch, but man, what a great exercise that is. You're going to have a day where you really just smash on your arms and you get in about 10 to 12 sets of arm work. About 5-6 sets for the bicep, 5-6 sets for the tricep, maybe even a little bit more, maybe even more towards 8 to 10 sets. Ease your way into it. Don't kill yourself. Don't get too sore right away. Training your biceps and triceps hard once a week should be sufficient, but you could also train them twice a week for about a month or so, and then move into training them just once a week. At super training, we don't see a lot of arm training going on there other than the triceps. I need to incorporate more bicep work because I've always noticed a difference when I did it, because it helped balance out my ginormous triceps. And it's always helped me. Like I said, it kind of acts as a brake pad for my bench press. I can lower the weights. I can feel myself lowering the weights with my biceps. Building up your back and building up your shoulders is going to help tremendously. So make sure you're hammering your back minimum of once a week. That'll help make your body thicker, and again, it will help your bench press. Foam roll yourself a lot. Try to work on that arch a little bit. That'll knock out an inch or two off your bench press as well. And that is it from supertraining.tv.